What's half puppets and half marionettes? Well, Jim Henson's Muppets. They're so lovable for being so entertaining. They deserve all the credit they get. And especially for not being creepy or grotesque, which is most common with puppets. They've been successful enough to not only make it on the small screen, but the big screen and also the 3D screen. So many of them and so big, they had to start off so few and so small. Just like evolution, I guess. But even though they were not creepy or grotesque, they definitely began a little dark. You see, back in the late 50s, Jim Henson was approached to make commercials for Wilkins Coffee. The Muppets have had a history of selling stuff, such as crumpets and iced tea. And this was probably the first time a company seized on this chance. And in the time span of 4 years, he made 179 of them, all starring these two. The setup for all of them is Wilkins must persuade Watkins to try Wilkins coffee, or confess that he's a drinker of it, and if not, he faces the consequences. And those consequences range from a bump on the noggin to death. This is possibly the most sadistic advertising campaign ever made, if you could call it a campaign. It seems that Wilkins is a cold-blooded murderer. Just by looking at these images, you can see the monster he really is. You're looking at the face of evil. This shrill is willing to do anything to his victim to sell his brand, such as shooting, beheading, electrocution, stabbing, crushed. There's even one where he lets him drown. His bloodlust doesn't just end there, as in one, he is shown blowing away Watkins with a cannon only to have it aimed at us. Is there any limit to Wilkins' wrath? He even appears to have godlike powers that he could just make Watkins disappear forever. And that's all it is. Endless cruelty being repeated over and over again with different variations. You can use history and pop culture to let your imagination think up more horrific things he can do. I mean, just look at this picture. It looks like a hostage photograph. I mean, look at him. He's shaped as a tear. Do you think that was done on purpose? It's amusing to think that the brains and puppeteer of this, despite starting in a dark place, created a legacy of movies that were about dreams, goodness, and friendship. Teaching kids stuff, and showing how everyone can get along with each other. The best of humanity. Maybe it's like the way some veterans who fight in conflicts, who see stuff and do stuff, end up wanting to live a life of peace and tranquility. So, anyone up for Wilkins coffee?